You're not asleep yet. You do this every night, actually. After lying down, you can't close your eyes right away. You stare at the ceiling, rough wooden planks, small gaps between them, whispering softly when the wind passes through. When you first came to this town, that sound bothered you. Now it soothes you. 8 years ago, when you were assigned here, the town had 250 people. Now it's past 400. New families keep arriving, mostly from the east, from Illinois, from Ohio. The land is cheap, the future uncertain, but there's hope. These people sell everything they have to come here. Some make it. Some don't survive the first winter and head back. As sheriff, you've greeted them all. You're still staring at the ceiling. What happened today? The farmer's issue. Ed Simmons. That fight between brothers in the evening. The morning rounds. Breakfast. Clara's eggs. A normal day. And a normal day means a good day. You slowly close your eyes. Somewhere in the distance, a tether chain rattles, a horse shifting in the night, a sound you're used to. Then it fades. Then the wind. Then the soft creak of wood. You fall asleep. When you open your eyes, it's still dark outside. If you look through the window, there's a faint, almost imaginary strip of gray along the far eastern edge of the sky, but you have to look closely to see it. Sunrise is maybe 45 minutes away. You always wake up before that. It's not a decision, it's habit. 8 years of waking at the same time has turned you into a kind of clock. Your bed is made from a wooden frame. The wood is hard, with a thin goat's wool mattress on top. When you first arrived, the mattress was thicker, now the middle has sunken a bit, the edges have grown stiff. It needs replacing, but there's no good upholsterer in town. You'd have to go to the next city. So it keeps getting put off. You sit up. Your joints speak one by one, right knee, left shoulder, lower back. You're 42. Your body reminds you of that every morning. It's not a bad thing. Just the truth. You look at the stove. Large embers from last night's fire are still there, not fully dead. You add 2 pieces of wood. A gentle breath through the bellows, and the embers come alive again, catching flame. The fire starts. Heat slowly begins to spread. You get dressed. You pull up your suspenders. Your shirt is cotton, a faded beige, the most practical color in town, it doesn't show dust. The buttons on your vest are small and a little loose, but they hold. You fasten them. You put on your belt. Then the revolver. You always put the revolver on last. A small ritual, a way of giving meaning to the moment. Before the gun, this is just a room. After it, you're the sheriff, and this is the sheriff's room. You open the door. The air is cold. Mid-September mornings change suddenly in this region, the days are still warm, but the mornings carry the first hint of fall. Your breath comes out in a faint mist. The dirt beneath your boots has hardened, the night's moisture hasn't lifted yet. The street is empty. One of the town's dogs barks somewhere in the distance. Then another sound, a rooster from a far-off farm, early, but already starting. Then silence settles in again. Morning has begun. The office door lock sticks a little every morning. The key doesn't quite align with the mechanism, the metal swells slightly from the night's moisture, tightening the lock by morning. You know this. You press inward just a bit as you turn it. It opens. Inside is dark. The windows are shut, shutters half drawn. You light the lamp, a gas lamp. The wick needs adjusting, the flame catches with a brief puff of black smoke, then settles into a steady yellow glow. Now you can see. The room is small. Your desk. 2 chairs. The gun cabinet on the wall. In the corner, the small two-cell jail. The gun cabinet is always locked. The cell doors are open, no one was held overnight. That means it was a good night. There's a stack of papers on your desk. On the left, letters from the territorial governor. In the center, open case files. On the right, blank forms. You try to keep them organized, but when things get busy, the desk falls into disorder. You'll need to straighten it up today. You start the coffee. A small tin pot, you left some water in it last night so the morning would be quicker. You place a few pieces of coal underneath. They catch. As the water begins to heat, you add the coffee grounds. It's not real fresh ground coffee, just a slightly burnt, somewhat stale blend sold in tins. But at this hour, it does the job. While you wait, you look over the papers. The first is a letter from the territorial governor, delivered last week. The handwriting is careful, formal, likely written by the governor's clerk. The contents: a new horse theft law has been passed. Procedures have changed. From now on, the accused must be brought to the territorial court for the first hearing. It can't be settled in the town court anymore. Which means that from now on, if you catch a horse thief, you're looking at a 3-day ride. Not practical. But the law is the law. The second paper is a missing horse report. Came in 2 weeks ago. The horse still hasn't been found. The owner is Hawkins, not Tom Hawkins, the one you dealt with in the farmer dispute today. A different Hawkins. There are 4 Hawkins families in this town. You mix them up sometimes. The third page is blank. That's where you'll start your notes on Ed Simmons today. The coffee starts to boil. You take the pot and pour it into a tin cup, no filter, so you'll have to wait for the grounds to settle at the bottom. You take the first sip too hot. It burns your tongue slightly. But it's bitter and strong. That's the first real feeling of the morning. You open your ledger to a new page. At the top, you write the date, September 15, 1882. The day has begun. Every morning, you walk the same route. From one end of Main Street to the other, then through the side streets, a glance at the stable, and back to the office. Maybe a mile in total, 30 minutes. But this walk isn't just a patrol, it's a message to the town: I'm here. Everything's fine. People want to see you. Seeing you gives them a sense of security. This morning, you pay a little more attention. You went out to the Hawkins farm last night, and on your way back, something stuck with you. The young man who brought you the message couldn't quite meet your eyes. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's nothing. But you stay alert. First stop, Heinrich the blacksmith's shop. Heinrich is German-born, came to town a year before you, 8 years ago. When you asked him why he came, he said, because the land is cheap and people aren't worn out yet. You didn't understand it back then. You do now. European immigrants feel a certain freedom out here in the American West, no fixed hierarchy, less weight from the past. Heinrich gets up at 4 every morning. The rhythmic sound of his bellows carries from a distance. When you approach, it stops. He looks out from the corner. "Sheriff," he says, in that German accent. "Heinrich." "That's it." You give a small wave, he nods. You move on. Next, the grain depot. The largest storehouse in town: grain, flour, feed, salt, basic supplies. The door is locked, a heavy iron lock that looks solid. It's a tempting target for thieves. Wheat and corn are heavy, but valuable. There was an attempted break-in 2 years ago, the lock was replaced after that. Then the bank. The only bank in town, a small stone building. Stone is rare here, most structures are wood. Wood burns easily, but it's cheap and quick to build. The bank was made of stone on purpose, with a steel safe inside. The most secure place in the region. And the most tempting. You stop in front of it. Test the door. Locked. You glance at the windows, a shadow moves inside. The guard's already there this early. You tap lightly on the glass. A hand waves back from inside. Good. You keep walking. The bakery. Warm air seeps out even from beneath the door. Martha's been up since 3, and the first loaves are already in the oven. You don't open the door, no need to disturb her at this hour. But the smell of flour and bread drifts out. It's one of the best smells in this town. You pause. You're not entirely sure why, the smell just slows you down. Maybe it reminds you of something. Back home in Ohio, there was a bakery near your house too. You move on. The saloons. The first one is quieter, mostly seated drinking, a little gambling now and then, but serious fights are rare. Usually no trouble here. The door is locked, the place dark. The second one is different. It was opened 2 years ago by a man from Nevada, Jack Delaney. Good businessman, but not picky about his customers. All kinds drift in and out of that place. Most days, no problem. But 60% of your problems start there. This morning, it's closed. Windows dark. Delaney usually sleeps until noon. Fine. You turn into the side streets. Smaller houses here, the town's first settlers built them. Wooden homes, small gardens, a few tucked away corners. As you walk, all you hear are your own footsteps. Somewhere in the distance, a baby cries, then is quieted. You reach the stable. The town's shared stable, traveling traders, postal horses, sometimes your own horse too. His name is Grant. Not after Ulysses S. Grant, that was the name given by the man who owned him before you. You tried changing it, but the horse already knew it. Grant is calm this morning. He stretches his nose toward you, sniffing your hand. Eating hay. Good. Morning, you say to him. No answer, of course. You weren't expecting one. You turn back. Patrol's done. Everything is where it should be. The town's only dining room is on the ground floor of the hotel. The hotel is 2 stories, 6 rooms upstairs, dining room below. When there are fewer guests, Clara makes her living from the dining room alone. Most townspeople come here for breakfast. Maybe 50, 60 a day. Prices are fair, the food consistent. Clara started with 8 tables. Now there are 12. Growth is rare in a town like this. The fact that hers has grown is taken as a sign that the town itself is growing. You step inside. At this hour, 5 or 6 tables are already filled. Farmers sit early, they eat before heading out to the fields. Traders come later. Most women eat at home, though some come here too, especially on weekends. You take your seat in the corner. It's your table. No one says it, but everyone knows. The corner has its advantages, you can see the door, the window, and you've got a wall behind you. Whether that's about safety or just habit anymore, you're not sure. Clara approaches. How is it today? She asks, brief as always. Good, you say. Small issue at the Hawkins place last night. Heard, Clara replies. She hears everything in this town. You don't know how, but she always does. The two brothers again. Yeah. The older one's losing his head a little. His mother's worried. Clara shares information easily. That's one of her traits. The dining room is the town's unofficial news center. People talk while they eat, Clara listens, and when needed, she passes it along. Sometimes, that helps you. Want eggs? She asks. I do. She leaves. A few minutes later, your plate arrives, 2 fried eggs, thick-cut bacon, a large slice of cornbread, and coffee in a tin cup. This will be the best coffee of the morning. Clara's always is. You eat slowly. At the table across from you, that traveling trader is still there, same as yesterday. This time he's not with his son, but another man. The two of them speak quietly, jotting things down on a small piece of paper now and then. That's how traders are: numbers, routes, profit and loss. The trader notices you. Gives a slight nod. You nod back. You keep eating. You glance out the window. The street is starting to come alive. 2 women pass by with baskets, likely heading to the shops. A child runs past, a dog chasing behind. A wagon rolls slowly down the road. The town's daily life has begun. The bread is especially good this morning. The crust has just the right crisp to it. By the time you return to the office, the sun has climbed higher. You sit at your desk and begin the first task, opening the window shutter just enough to let light in without letting the sun hit your face directly. Finding the right angle is a small morning struggle every day. You move on to the papers. The first stack is last month's closed cases. According to the court records, 2 cases concluded, 1 acquittal, 1 minor fine. You file them in the archive. The bottom drawer of the filing cabinet is now entering its 2nd year of being filled. Tangible proof the town is growing. The second paper is the letter from the territorial governor about the horse theft law. You need to write a reply. 3 days travel to the regional center from town requires time and resources. You explain the practical difficulties and suggest an alternative. The first hearing could happen in town, with serious cases sent to the regional court. You write in formal language, official business with the governor demands it. Your handwriting is neat but brisk. Occasionally, you pause to search for the right word. Writing brings back school days. You grew up in a small Ohio town. There was a teacher, Mr. Holloway. In his 50s, serious, but passionate about teaching. You learned to read and write from him. Arithmetic. A little history. At the time, maybe he thought he'd keep teaching forever. You weren't planning on being a sheriff. Life doesn't follow plans. The third paper is the Ed Simmons file. According to the report from the grain depot yesterday, Simmons tried to take goods without paying. Not quite theft yet, maybe he forgot, maybe he had no money at the moment, maybe it was a misunderstanding. But you need to record it. You write down the name, the claim, and the date. Just then, the door opens. A young woman enters, just past 25, dressed simply, hair tied up. Her face shows concern, though her voice is controlled. Sheriff Haynes, she asks. Yes, you say, rising slightly, but she waves you down. Please, sit. She lowers herself into the chair across from you. Her hands rest on top of her bag, gripping lightly. I'm Margaret Fowler. My husband, Daniel Fowler, owns the farm on the east side. I know the Fowler farm, you reply. What happened? A week ago a man came. Camped near our farm, said it was temporary. Just one night, he said. But he's still there. And last night, 2 of our chickens disappeared. Who is this man? I don't know. Young. Maybe 25, maybe 30. Alone. He has a horse and a sack. You open your ledger and write. Did he harm you? Threaten you? No, she says. But, we feel uneasy. I have children. You understand. No threat, but suspicion. A legitimate concern. I'll pass by this week, you say. I'll talk to him. She seems slightly relieved. Thank you. She leaves. You make a note in the ledger, Fowler Farm, unidentified person, to be investigated. The pile of papers on your desk feels a little heavier now. By noon, the air has warmed up. Kansas afternoons in mid-September can still be oppressive. The sun is high, the air dry, dust rising from the streets. You close the shutter a little to keep the room cooler. Tom Hawkins and James Farley arrive. Both are old-timers in town. Hawkins came 12 years ago, Farley 9. Both came with their families, both are hard-working men. This boundary dispute is an unnecessary conflict, they both know it, but neither wants to back down. They don't look at each other as they enter. Have a seat, you say. They sit, still avoiding each other's eyes. Hawkins pulls out his map first, a hand-drawn one, done by himself. Slightly off scale, but at least the property lines are clear from his perspective. Farley pulls out his map, an older, official copy from the regional office. They don't match. Does the official map win? In theory, yes. But Hawkins has been using that creek for 10 years before Farley ever saw the official map. When legal right and actual use clash, things get complicated. You listen. Hawkins speaks first, the creek runs on his side, the boundary isn't the creek but the large rock west of it. He's calm, prepared. Hands placed honestly on the table. Farley listens, then speaks. According to the official documents, the boundary is the creek, and he has the right to the water. A little more animated, hands gesturing occasionally. You take notes. You ask questions. When did the creek run here? When were the farms established? What do the earliest deeds say? The questions get complicated, the first records are very old, some missing. An hour passes. Neither really wants to go to court. Court means money, time, uncertainty. But neither can just say, fine, you're right, pride won't allow it. Shared use agreement, you finally say. Both of you get access to the creek. The boundary is set by the rock, as Hawkins suggested. Farley's water rights are protected, and a priority order for irrigation is established. Both are silent. If you go to court, you'll wait 3 months. You'll miss this irrigation season. Both will lose. Hawkins speaks first, all right. Farley hesitates, then, all right. You draft the agreement, clear, concise. They sign, and you sign as witness. They rise. This time, leaving the office, they look at each other, not full eye contact, but they see one another. That's enough. Towns change in the late afternoon. Morning calm and midday tension fade, and by late afternoon people start coming out. The market stirs to life. Women shop, children run through the streets, men gather in corners to talk. This is the town's daily rhythm. And you move through it too, but it's no longer the formal patrol of the morning. This is more about being part of the town. Being seen. Talking. First stop, the barber shop. Barber Roberto is Italian, came to town 10 years ago with his wife. They have 2 children now, both born here. Roberto's shop is small but tidy, an old mirror on the wall, 2 barber chairs, a small shelf with soap and lotions. Roberto is busy with a customer. He sees you and speaks without putting down his scissors. "Sheriff. Your hair's getting long. I'll come Saturday," you say. You say that every Saturday. You see him smile. You move on. Next, the pharmacy. The town pharmacy is small but crucial. Dr. Harrison is both the town doctor and pharmacist, a rare luxury for this area. A real medical school graduate from Illinois. Why choose this small town? Too many doctors in the big cities, he says. Makes sense. You peek through the door. Harrison is writing at his desk. He puts down his pen when he sees you. "The Hawkins boy from last night?" he asks immediately. "Small cut, not serious," you say. "Did you check him?" "I did. 3 stitches in the head." I'd say let it slide, but he's too stupid for that. Harrison's lack of diplomacy always amuses you. "Anything else?" you ask. 2 patients came last week, both with similar symptoms. Like a cold, but stronger. Keep an eye out, could be spreading around town. You note it mentally and move on. The grain depot is busy this afternoon, farmers shopping. Storekeeper William waves you over discreetly. "Simmons came by again today," he says in a low voice. "What did he say?" "He said he'd bring money." "Didn't." "And he took goods again." "How much?" $6.10 total so far. $6.10 isn't a small amount in 1882, a couple of days' earnings for a farmer. This is getting serious. "I'll stop by Simmons today," you say. William looks relieved. The Simmons farm lies about 2 miles west of town. You mount Grant. The afternoon sun has tilted slightly, hitting your right shoulder instead of your face. The road is dirt, and Grant knows it, they've made this trip a few times before. As you approach the farm, you see a man, in his 40s, bearded, a bit disheveled. He's fixing something in front of the barn. He stands up when he hears you. "Sheriff," he says, his voice cautious. "Mr. Simmons," you reply. You dismount from your horse and tie Grant to a post. "Come on in." He gestures. That's a good sign, he's not running, not getting defensive. You step inside. A small kitchen, a wooden table, 2 chairs. Simmons doesn't offer anything, either he doesn't have it or he's irritated. You'll have to wait a bit to tell which. You sit across from him. $6.10 have piled up from William's store, you say. Straight to the point. No long intro. Simmons frowns. But he doesn't lie. "I know," he says. "The crops didn't do well this year. Drought hit, you know." "I know. I'm trying to come up with the money." You look at Simmons' hands. Working hands, calloused, cracked, dirt-stained. This man isn't lazy. He's in a tough spot. "I'll talk to William," you say. "Maybe you can work out a payment plan. But from now on, you need to check with him before taking anything. Without a promise, taking it will start counting as theft." Simmons nods. You're right. I'm sorry. Not to me, to William. Silence. All right, he finally says. You mount Grant again. On the way back, the sun has dipped lower. In the distance, the town's silhouette is visible, wooden buildings, the church steeple, the hotel roof. This small place. This small world. By 7 in the evening, the town changes. Shops close. Families retreat to their homes. Saloons open, or rather, they fill up. The town's nighttime crowd has a different profile: single men, travelers, cowboys, folks who aren't seen around during the day. You're making your last patrol. Walking down the street, you hear music from the saloon. Someone's playing the piano. That's actually a good sign. When there's piano music, people relax, don't fight. Trouble usually starts when the music stops and the alcohol takes over. You step inside. Delaney's saloon. About 15 or 16 men are inside. Most are familiar faces. A few strangers, but not too strange. Their faces are open, at least none of them are showing weapons. Delaney stands behind the bar. When he sees you, he looks up. Sheriff. Want a drink? No, thank you. You walk slowly through the saloon. You don't speak to anyone, but you watch everyone. That's enough. A reminder of your presence. A man in the corner catches your eye, sitting alone, a beer in front of him but untouched, just staring. His eyes are fixed. He looks uneasy. You approach. Evening, you say. The man doesn't startle at your presence. He looks at you slowly. You're the sheriff, he asks. Yes. New in town. Came in last night. Where you headed? Colorado. But my horse is tired, so I'm resting a couple of days. All right, you say. Colorado's a long way off. Yes, he says. Long. The conversation ends there. The man doesn't seem dangerous. Just tired. Alone. Maybe he just really wants to rest. You leave the saloon. Back at the office, you think over the information Margaret Fowler gave you. The man in the tent. The missing chickens. His identity unknown. You had been planning to go tomorrow, but tonight there's a strange feeling in your gut. You don't want to wait. Sometimes that feeling is wrong. But usually, it's best to listen. You get Grant ready again. You ride to the Fowler farm in the night. The moon is out, a half moon, but enough to light the path. Grant moves well in the dark, he's seen this route before. As you near the farm, you see a campfire, not right next to the farmhouse, but a little beyond, at the edge of the trees. A small fire. A figure sits by it, eating or drinking something. You approach slowly. The man stands when he hears you, quickly, which demands attention. Who's there? He asks. Sheriff, you say. I'm coming down. The man steps back, but doesn't run. That's a good sign. In the firelight, you see, a young man, 28 maybe 30. Clean-shaven, or lightly bearded. His clothes are dirty, but not torn. His horse is truly tired, you notice a bandage on its hind leg. You been passing through here long, you ask. A week, he says. Like I said, just passing through. You got any chickens with you? He's silent. The pause stretches. By the fire, he finally says. Cooked them. Tried to pay, but no one was around. You go over. Sure enough, next to the fire are two small chicken bones. Next time, you knock on the door, you say, "Pay for the food." "Yes, sir." "Your name?" "Thomas Keene." "Headed to Colorado?" He hesitates. "Maybe." That answer carries a story, but you leave the questions for now. The man committed a crime, a small one. But you don't want to fight tonight. In the morning, you knock on the fowler's door. "Pay for the chickens." Then you move on from this town. Thomas Keene nods. "All right." You ride back. Back at the office, it's 9:30. You light the lamp. Sit at your desk. Open today's ledger. September 15th, 1882. Morning patrol, routine. Hawkins-Farley dispute resolved, agreement signed. Ed Simmons matter, discussed, payment plan to be arranged with William. Fowler Farm, Thomas Keene, temporary camp, admitted to taking 2 chickens, committed to pay. Unidentified illness symptoms, info from Dr. Harrison, requires attention. You set down your pen. You've been keeping these ledgers for 8 years. Dozens of full books now sit in the archive cabinet. These records aren't just legal documents, they're the town's memory. Who came, who left, what happened, how it was resolved. One day, who will read these ledgers? You don't know. Maybe no one. Maybe they'll sit in some corner of history, their pages yellowed. But for now, tonight, you need to write them. You dim the lamp. Take off your boots. You lie down. Outside, it's quiet. From far away, the saloon piano still plays, faintly, softly. A familiar tune. An Irish song, taught by one of the few Irish families in town. You watch the ceiling. What happened today? Hawkins and Farley. Ed Simmons. Margaret Fowler. Thomas Keene. Dr. Harrison's warning. Grant holding his nose in the morning. A normal day. A normal day is a good day. The wooden ceiling begins to creak, the winds picked up a bit. In the fall, winds come early in these parts. Winter isn't far off. Winter changes the town, harsher, more closed in. But winter passes. Always passes. Tomorrow, you'll get up early. Put wood in the stove. Make coffee. Do your patrol. Eat Clara's eggs. Read the papers. And you'll carry this town, this small, dusty, wooden town, the merchants, the farmers, the blacksmiths, the bakers, the children, the horses, all of it. That's the job. One day, when the job ends, the piano stops. A dog barks in the distance. Then that too goes quiet. Only the wind now. And you. And sleep. Good night.